What's up, YouTube? This is Gerard with Kingdom Image Fitness, and I am back with another video. Firstly, I hope that everyone had a blessed Easter, and also last week was spring break down here, so I hope that everyone was able to enjoy the time with their families. Now today I would like to conclude our series on some things that we may not realize have been holding back our weight loss journeys. Now in this installment, we will discuss the effects that lack of sleep can have on our fitness goals. Now, I purposely saved this subject for last because out of the 3 topics that we have discussed, this one can be the most difficult to control at times. Now, it's pretty easy for us to up our daily water intake, and once we know where to look, reducing our sodium intake isn't that difficult either. But there are only 24 hours in a day, so when things get hectic, making sure that you get the recommended amount of sleep can be a bit difficult. We have all heard the terms, the early bird gets the worm, burning the candle at both ends, and I'll sleep when I die. Many of us have used these terms ourselves. Now I can attest to this 100%, being a business owner while at the same time attempting to raise a family amongst other things. But let's start our discussion by stating the recommended guidelines for sleep. Now, of course, every one of us is different. So instead of giving exact numbers, the National Sleep Foundation instead gives recommended ranges for different stages of life. Now, these ranges begin with it being recommended that a newborn get anywhere between 14 to 17 hours of sleep a day, and it ends with someone over 65 being recommended to get between 7 and 8 hours a day. They recommend between 8 to 10 hours a day for a teenager, and for anyone between the ages of 18 to 64, they recommend between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. Now, of course, all of us are saying there's no way that I can get that much sleep at night, but just remember that all of us are different. There are some adults out there who can make it on as little as 6 hours of sleep at night, but then there are others who may need as much as 10 hours of sleep per night in order to function at their maximum potential. Now, I know someone personally who, without saying any names, has not gotten over 5 hours of sleep per night in over 30 years. Over 1/3 of Americans out there do not get enough sleep. And almost 40% of Americans fall asleep without meaning to at least one time per month. And there are some people out there who experience what are called micro sleeps. And this means that they fall asleep and wake up without ever realizing they even went to sleep in the first place. Now, this is due to a term called sleep debt, and what this basically means is that a person requires more sleep than usual if they have been deprived of sleep in the days prior. Now, there are 5 different phases of sleep that we generally pass through. Without making this video too complicated, we would just say that there are stages 1 through 4, and then there is REM sleep. Now, we pass through these phases in a cycle, and they start with stage 1, end with REM sleep, and begin all over again. Now, the average adult spends almost 50% of their time in stage 1 and 2, 20% of their time in REM, and the remaining 30% of the time in the others. Now, the fact that infants spend anywhere between 50 to 80% of their time in REM sleep may be a sign as to how important this part of our sleep is to our growth and development. Now, during the beginning of our sleep, the first cycles are longer and the REM cycle is shorter. But the longer that we sleep, the REM cycles happen more often, and also they get longer as well. Now, the longer that we remain in the REM cycle of sleep per night has been proven to increase our HGH levels, as well as to increase the release of a hormone called prolactin, which is very important in joint recovery. Now, REM sleep has also been proven to be the essential time that our bodies heal, rest, and recuperate, such as from illness or from intense training. Now, one last point that exudes to the importance of REM sleep to our bodies is that if we are awakened during the REM phase of sleep, instead of starting at phase 1 when we do return to sleep, our bodies immediately return to REM sleep, catch up on that phase before starting back all over again. Now, sleep deprivation has also been proven to have major effects on our cognitive skills. This is due to the effects that it has on our brain's frontal lobe. Attention, alertness, creative thinking, and even memory have been shown to be affected by a lack of sleep. Also, some sleep-deprived individuals who were put through a driving simulator actually performed worse than the individuals who were actually intoxicated. Now, having said this, the impairment effects of alcohol are also greatly increased on those individuals who are suffering from lack of sleep. Now, perhaps the 2 most important cognitive skills that are affected by sleep deprivation when it concerns weight loss are impulse control and judgment. Now, a study that was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that when people were sleep deprived, late night snacking increased and they tended to reach for high carb snacks. A UC Berkeley study even went as far as to say that sleepless nights make us more inclined to crave fast food versus healthier options. Now, this was shown to be due to the effects that a lack of sleep has on the limbic system, which is the reward center of the brain. Now, with all of these findings, there is no wonder that sleep deprivation has been tied to many serious health issues such as heart and kidney disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and strokes. Now, a lack of sleep also has a tremendous effect on our body's hormones, but most specifically the hunger hormones, leptin, ghrelin, and cortisol. Now, for those of you all who are new to the channel, it should be noted that these hormones are affected by all of the 3 topics that we discussed in this series. So this means that dehydration, lack of sleep, and too much sodium in our diets all affect our fitness goals. So one of these is bad enough, but if all 3 of these topics speak to you, this can not only be detrimental to our efforts, but also to our health. So how can we tell if we are just tired from a long week at work or are actually suffering from sleep deprivation? Well, scientists say that if you feel tired and drowsy during the day, even during boring activities, then this means that you aren't getting enough sleep. But if you fall asleep during the first 5 minutes of sitting or laying down, then you may be suffering from severe sleep deprivation or even possibly a sleep disorder. Now, what can we do to alleviate the problem of sleep deprivation on our fitness goals? Well, firstly, this is a fitness channel, so the first thing we can do is get more exercise. Simply 20 to 30 minutes of exercise per day has been shown to help people sleep throughout the night. But on the contrary, for some people, working out too late can actually keep them awake at night. Now, in these circumstances, it may be needed to work out between 4 to 5 hours before bedtime. We can also pay closer attention to the things that we eat as well as the times that we choose to eat them. Now, if you have trouble sleeping, it is recommended that you stay away from soda, coffee, and tea before bedtime because caffeine can stay in your system for up to 5 to 6 hours. And lastly, we can set a schedule where we sleep and rise at the same time every day. And yes, this includes weekends, and this is very important. Breaking our body's sleep cycle can lead to insomnia. So by us sleeping in on the weekends, it can actually make it harder for us to wake up on Monday morning. Also, if it is at all possible, we should try to awaken with the sun and go to sleep when the sun sets, because this is actually how our bodies are designed. Darkness signals melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. Light actually has the opposite effect on our bodies. So an hour before we go to sleep, we should cut off the TVs, the cell phones, and the computers, because the light can actually keep us from falling asleep. I hope that everyone found this series on things that may be derailing our weight loss goals informative. And if you haven't seen the first 2 installments of the series, please feel free to do so, because I feel that they all 3 tie together and shed a little bit of light on some often overlooked things that may be holding us back. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, if you would like to be on the lookout for future content from me, all you have to do is hit the notification bell beside the subscribe button, and you will instantly be notified every time I publish a new video. Well, everyone, this has been Gerard with Kingdom Image Fitness. I hope that you all have a blessed and wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.